Here we are. I've got a bunch of different watches and it's December, so that can only mean one thing. It's the
Smartwatch Awards 2024 edition.
I'll put an echo on that or something. So what is the Smartwatch Awards? Well, if you've been around my channel for any number of years, you might remember previous years where I made a very similar video. And in these videos, I typically go through a bunch of different categories, and then I assign a winner in each category, and then sort of give away a little imaginary award in each category to make that watch feel special, I guess. And these different categories vary from things like the best budget option to the best daily driver, the best battery life, that sort of thing. And just keep in mind, this is all subjective in my opinion. It really means nothing. It's just purely for entertainment. And if you have a varying opinion on any of these categories, I would invite you to drop into the comments down below and correct me and tell me what you think should have won that category. Let's open up the discussion down there, okay? And finally, before we move on, this video is not sponsored by any of these brands or anything. I just thought it would be fun to do, so take that for what it's worth. Without wasting any time, let's jump right into the first category. And this category is probably pretty important for most people, and this is going to be the best daily driver. So you might be wondering, what does a daily driver mean when we're referring to a smartwatch? Well, it means a few things. A daily driver is going to be like the most comfortable watch to wear on a routine basis that just helps you get through the day, get your tasks done, help you in that sense, and not so much something that you're going to take out on a run or a bike ride and track all of your health metrics. Although they can do that too, that sort of comes secondary to being a smartwatch. So this year, when it comes to the winner of being the best daily driver, in my opinion, I'm going to go with the Apple Watch Series 10. The reason why I chose this watch as the best daily driver is because the new and improved design, being slightly thinner with a slightly larger display, does feel a little bit more modern, although it still looks very much like every other Apple Watch out there. But it's also just a real pleasure to use. It's lightweight, it's got a great form factor, it's got a speaker and microphone built in, it's got all the apps and the Apple experience and the ecosystem that you know and love if you are an Apple user, and that's what makes this watch just a great watch to wear on a daily basis. With that being said, I know a lot of you out there are not Apple users, and because of that, I'm also gonna pick a runner-up in this category, and for that, I'm gonna go with the Google Pixel Watch 3. Now, not just any Google Pixel Watch 3, I'm gonna choose the larger form factor. This is the 45mm form factor. In my experience, this has been one of the best Android watch experiences that I've used in recent years. Moving on to the next category, and this is gonna be a carryover category from last year. This one is called Most Innovative. And honestly, this one was really hard this year because I feel like nothing super innovative happened. We've already got the AMOLED displays, the Garmin's already have a flashlight built in. So because of that, it made it very tricky to come up with a winner in the most innovative category. And I picked one. You're probably gonna be mad about it, but again, this is just my opinion. So for most innovative, I'm gonna go with the Garmin Fenix 8. And I know what you might be wondering, the Fenix 8 is very much like the Fenix 7. Yes, it is. However, there have been some changes. For example, we've got the leak-proof buttons now on the Garmin Fenix 8 that have a new and improved design that actually aren't buttons at all. They're actually little proximity sensors, and when you push the button on the watch, it detects that press, and it's a lot more complicated than just being a simple button. It also has the built-in flashlight, you've got the speaker and microphone on board, and I think just overall the package is more innovative than Garmin's been in previous years when it came to the Fenix model. So because of that, I'm gonna give the win to the Garmin Fenix 8. Now, to be fair, there are a lot of other innovative products up there. I wanna give a shout out to the COROS Pace Pro here. And again, COROS didn't reinvent the wheel here with the COROS Pace Pro. In fact, the user interface using this watch, it's all very much the same as previous models from COROS. However, what is innovative about this one is that they've added the AMOLED display, which I really appreciate. And to be honest, I'm a big fan of the COROS Pace Pro. I enjoyed my time with it. It's a very comfortable watch. It's accurate enough for me. It tracks all your wellness, and that display just makes it a real joy to use. Hey there, quick interruption before we move on. If you are interested in picking up any of the watches that I talk about in this video, I'll have links in the description down below, and those links do help support this channel, but they cost nothing extra to you, so you might as well use them. And while you're down there, also consider hitting that thumbs up and subscribe button down below, because only like 10% of you are actually subscribed, and that would make me feel better about my life's choices. Okay, let's get back to the video. Moving into the next topic, and that's going to be best battery life. And this one is just a no-brainer. Budget aside, if you're not worried about the money and you just want the best battery life of any smartwatch or sport watch out there, the Garmin Enduro 3 is gonna be the one to get. This watch, yes, again, pretty expensive. However, you're gonna get 36 days of typical use of battery life, well over a month. And if you do get some sunlight on the solar display of this watch, you'll get over 90 days of use, which is just bananas. That's like 3 months of use on a single charge. And even better, if you are using it for GPS activities, maybe you're an ultra marathon runner, you do triathletes or Ironmans, that's where you've got over 120 hours of GPS use on this watch in a single charge. And if you do get some sunlight on it, up to 320 hours of use. So if you're that multi-day athlete, that hiker, you're doing like the Moab 240 or something like that, this watch is going to be the perfect fit for you. And the real crazy thing about the Garmin Enduro 3 is the fact that you can switch it into max battery life mode and you'll get unlimited battery life. You'll never have to charge it in a GPS activity. Yes, you get way less accuracy and it's probably not worth using, but if you are someone doing like a thru hike or something like that, you could track the entire thru hike without ever charging your watch, which is kind of bonkers. Moving on to the next topic, and this one's gonna be a little bit controversial. It's gonna be best accuracy, best GPS accuracy, and best heart rate sensor accuracy. Let's start with GPS accuracy, because for me, it's sort of a no-brainer. Every time I've tested this watch, I've gotten unbelievable GPS accuracy. That could just be me, but in my experience so far, the Suunto Race S and the original Suunto Race have some of the best GPS accuracy on the market. Of course, keep in mind, I'm using these watches for trail running, road running, hiking, land-based activities. If you are someone who is in the water, you're swimming, open water swimming, that sort of thing, you may get varying results. But for me, the Suunto Race S and Suunto Race are top of the line when it comes to GPS accuracy. So that's GPS accuracy with the Suunto Race S. What about heart rate sensor accuracy? Well, the Suunto Race S does have a good heart rate sensor. It got a lot better compared to previous models. I wouldn't call it the winner overall. For me personally, I've gotten the best accuracy results out of the Apple Watch Series 10 this year. Again, the Apple Watch Series 10, the Series 9, they all have a really good heart rate sensor, and it's no different this year with the Series 10. And this year, the watch even got a little bit lighter, which I think helped its cause a little bit. It reduced vibration and moving around on your wrist, and because of that, I get incredibly accurate results from the Apple Watch Series 10. Moving on to the next topic, and this is going to be the best value / best budget option. So this is going to be a watch in that, $200, $250 price range that is good for beginners, but also somebody who's more seasoned could get a lot of value out of if they don't want to spend a lot of money. This is a tough one because there's so many good options in these price ranges. The winner for me this year, I think, is going to be the Amazfit T-Rex 3. I did not expect myself to say this, but my experience with this watch has been really good so far. It certainly has a lot of quirks. Definitely watch my full review. Things like the sleep tracking, the readiness score, that sort of thing. They feel a little bit off, and the whole ecosystem is a little bit weird still with the app. They're still polishing that out. But I will say that Amazfit has gotten a lot better this year. They've made a lot of improvements to this watch, where now it is actually something I can wholeheartedly recommend because it's gotten that much better. Now, this watch can be found on sale for as low as like $230, $240, depending where you look. Again, I'll have links in the description down below, but the retail value is still $280, which is totally reasonable for what you're getting here. Even though I would say the Amazfit T-Rex 3 is probably the best value on the market right now, this is sort of a hybrid smartwatch and sport watch. It's not like a dedicated sport watch. If you were someone laser focused on running or cycling or, working out, that sort of thing, I think there are better options if you are in that budget category. Like, for example, the COROS Pace 3 here. This watch came out previous years. They haven't updated it to like the Pace 4. Yes, they came out with the Pace Pro, but I wouldn't call it the replacement to the Pace 3. So this is still a relevant watch. This watch comes in at $229. And if you are just a road runner, you want to track your miles, you want to have workouts on your watch, you want to get really good, accuracy and metrics and all of that data on your wrist for $229, this is really hard to beat. And I'll do one more shout out in this category. I know it's 3 watches in one category is a lot, but it's hard to pick just one. The Garmin Forerunner 165. This watch is currently on sale for around $220 here in the USA. And for that price, you get a lot for your money. It's similar to the COROS Pace 3 in a lot of ways. However, the 165, the Garmin here, does get an AMOLED display, while the COROS Pace 3 is stuck with the MIP display. So that's really gonna boil down to your personal preference. Another benefit to the Garmin Forerunner 165 compared to the Pace 3 is that you do get metrics like body battery, which I find pretty useful. And I do find that the HRV tracking on the 165 just feels a little bit more accurate compared to the Pace 3. So there's that. The next category is going to be best mapping and navigation on a sport watch. Now this year, this category became very difficult because in previous years, not many sport watches had mapping and navigation. This year, however, the game has changed. Everybody has mapping now. Suunto, COROS, Polar, even Amazfit has mapping, and of course Garmin. So who's doing it the best? The mapping and navigation category is sort of a landslide victory for Garmin on the Garmin Fenix 8, the Fenix E, the Enduro 3, and honestly, every previous generation of the Garmin Fenix series, like the Epix Pro, the Epix Gen 2, the Garmin Fenix 7, the Fenix 7X, they all have very similar mapping capabilities, and they're all the best on the market. Yes, there are some quirks with Garmin's mapping capabilities. For example, it's not super smooth. There's a little bit of lag when you're using the maps and navigation. However, Garmin is still the only brand on the market to be offering routable maps. That means if you're out in the field and you want to get from point A to point B, your watch can actually come up with a turn-by-turn navigation route to get you to that destination. With all these other watches, you need to use an app on your phone like Komoot or Strava, export a GPX file, then upload it to your watch in order to get navigation. On the Garmin watches, you can do it right on your wrist without taking out your phone at all. You can search for nearby results completely offline without your phone to find those destinations like water sources or a campsite, and that can be really valuable in the right situation. Moving on to the next topic, and this one's going to be very subjective and purely my opinion, the best looking. What is the sexiest watch on the market this year in 2024? And for me, this one might come as a surprise to you. It's gonna go to the Polar Grid X2 Pro. This watch came out earlier this year, and I gotta say, it's just a really nice looking watch, especially with the included leather band you get with the titanium model. When this thing is on your wrist, it looks like a very expensive premium device. And it is, it's a premium device. Aesthetically, it's just a really nice watch. You've got the titanium finish here. You've even got these like titanium chatter marks from where the machining happened on the bezel, which I think looks kind of cool. And it's not like a really loud or embellished design. It's very minimalistic, but also looks sophisticated in my opinion. And because of that, I will give it the best looking watch of 2024. Surprise! Even though the Polar Grid X2 Pro wins the category, I will give a shout out, a runner up to the Apple Watch Ultra 2 in satin black. This watch, I mean, it's the same watch as last year, and we'll talk about that more in a minute, but the satin black coating on this watch just makes it so much more attractive than the previous model in my opinion. On to the next category, the most improved brand of 2024. I gotta give it to Amazfit. Amazfit in previous years for me, I didn't get great results from their watches. They made some interesting products like the original T-Rex Ultra, the T-Rex 2, they had the Amazfit BIP, the Falcon, there's a lot of them out there. But in my testing, the GPS and heart rate accuracy and some of the quirks just weren't there for me, even though the price point was reasonable. Now on this T-Rex 3 here, the new Amazfit T-Rex 3, they've solved a lot of those issues. Yes, it's still pretty quirky, but it's gotten so much better. And at this price point, $280 for this watch, they've got the integration with their Helio Smart Ring. There's just a lot going for it. And I think as a brand, the more I talk to their PR team, it seems like they know what they're doing now. They know what they have to do to become very competitive in this space. And I'm really excited to see what they do in the coming years because they've made a lot of headway this year, especially with this watch and the T-Rex 3. So I'll give them the most improved brand of 2024. Still not perfect, still some work to do, but definitely a huge improvement this year. And with the most improved brand out of the way, let's jump into the biggest letdown of 2024. I guess they go hand in hand. Now, the biggest letdown doesn't mean it's a bad device. It just means it was a device I was excited about, and then it was a letdown after the announcement. And that's, again, I will go back to the Apple Watch Ultra 2 in satin black here. Because during the Apple Watch event back in September, I was getting excited, and I was fully expecting Apple to launch a new Apple Watch Ultra 3 that maybe had a different look, some new features, maybe more battery life or something like that. And what we got was simply the Apple Watch Ultra 2, the previous year's model, just with a new color. So for me personally, this was the biggest letdown of 2024. Doesn't mean it's a bad watch. In fact, the Apple Watch Ultra 2 is one of the best smartwatches out there if you want a smartwatch experience, but I was hoping for an entirely new thing with an Apple Watch Ultra 3. It didn't happen, so I was personally let down. And with that, that brings us to the end of the category list and all of the winners and losers this year in 2024. And I just want to remind you one more time that this video is entirely made for fun, and most of it is purely my opinion. Your opinion may vary. And if your opinion does vary, I would highly suggest you drop it in the comments down below and let me know who you think should have won each one of these categories. I think that would be a fun exercise. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give me the thumbs up, check out the description down below where you'll find links to all of these things, and also check out all of my other social media accounts like my podcast, my Instagram, my Thread, my website where you can buy some sweet merch, and all those things in the description down below. All right, friends, that's another year-end video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I guess I'll see you next year. Yep. Okay. Bye.